Hello, darlings. And now, it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's Headlines.
Our headline today comes to us from Investment News. And we have talked about this a lot, OG. Remember when we talked about how this fantasy of no government intervention when it comes to crypto is clearly a fantasy.
Yeah.
Crypto being used is not a fantasy. Usage cases appearing more and more often. People now betting on crypto to get rich, also a thing. But this idea that it's above government involvement.
Yes.
By the way, I had a discussion
above all government involvement except
Right.
the Chinese and the Salvadorians right now,
to
and
keep
potentially the U.S.
to keep this nice. I had we'll call it a discussion on some platform just a month ago. Somebody going, you guys talk about governments can't get involved. You don't understand crypto. If you think governments can get involved,
you don't understand the power of the United States Marine Corps. Trust me, the feds want to be involved in crypto. They gonna be involved in crypto.
I just think sometimes the fanboys get so excited they think nothing bad can happen. But in our Wednesday celebratory pat on the back that we're actually not celebrating, this is a piece written by Mark Schaaf Jr. over at Investment News. SEC tensions over crypto regulation emerge at meeting. The SEC met to talk about crypto and about how they're going to regulate it. At the meeting of the SEC Investor Advisory Committee, SEC Chair Gensler says many digital tokens are securities and fall under its jurisdiction, while Commissioner Pierce says agency is applying, quote, strategic ambiguity to pursue enforcement first. So you've got fighting at the SEC now. Some people saying, hey, you guys just want to regulate everything. Back off. This is silly. While other people, including the chairman, saying, no, this is a security. And for those of you who are new to this discussion, we have a problem in the United States government where two different entities say that this doesn't fall under their jurisdiction. The SEC historically have said that this is a currency. This is not an investment. It's a currency. While across the hall right. in the IRS offices, the IRS says this is not legal tender. And because it's not legal tender, we can tax it. If you buy a sandwich with your crypto, we can tax the capital gain that you have on it. So if it's not legal tender and it's not a security, what the hell is it? Well, SEC looks like maybe coming down, OG, that it's a security.
Well, I mean, if you knew this was coming. It has to be, and I think you figured out one of the issues with using crypto on a daily basis is that if it's not currency and you're liquidating a position, let's say that you decided to pay with your brokerage account and your broker or financial planner had to sell Apple stock or your mutual fund every time that you wanted to buy a sandwich, that's going to pose quite a conundrum come tax time. I mean, CPA is going to be super excited because they have 700 pages of reports to go through, and they charge by the hour, so they're okay with that. But then you get into things like tax loss harvesting or wash sale rules, right? You can't rebuy the thing. You can't take a loss on it today, rebuy it, and then I think a lot of people are going to get smoked by that here this year too. But good luck.
I'm sure Ed's going to have something to say about wash sales, especially.
That's why you're supposed to keep all of your crypto into your self-directed IRA. Between that and your apartment buildings, he says sarcastically,
that exist in the in a Utah flats. Yeah, to go back to
your yurts.
If you missed Monday, you have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah,
but just some surrealism. While the government is running in, and certainly they are running in, financial asset management companies also running into the crypto space. We talked a few weeks ago about the new Bitcoin ETF, right? And this comes to us from Bloomberg. Fidelity now heading to Canada with this Bitcoin ETF.
Because everything's legal in Canada.
But you know what's interesting about the Bitcoin ETF? The Bitcoin ETF is for people that don't even see it as a currency. Like if we're going to wade into the SEC involvement here, saying this is clearly a security, who buys a Bitcoin ETF that has no utility at all to buy the sandwich or the pizza or whatever it might be? You can't use the ETF for that. All you can do is play the volatility. That's clearly OG. That's clearly a security.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Bitcoin ETF is a security. Ergo, you would think that the thing that the ETF owned would also be a security.
Yeah, right.
Which also, by the way, is completely useless. Although I was just thinking a second ago, I was thinking we talked about this, and why would you own a Bitcoin ETF and not just Bitcoin by itself, unless you didn't want to like have another place where your money was.
Yeah.
If you were just like, my money's at Fidelity, I can buy this ETF. It gets me exposure. It costs a little bit of money, so be it. But now I don't have to worry about trying to get an account and keep it secure and remember my 12-word passphrase and, get locked out of my, crypto because I threw my computer away. You know what I mean? Like that could be
locked out of your wallet.
Could be an answer. I don't know.
Let's look at the other side of this, the IRS side of this.
Cool. Where the good guys are. Got it. Yeah, let's do that. My favorite topic.
You own a little crypto. Do you have any desire or interest? Are you building your crypto exposure so that you can buy more sandwiches with that instead of with dollars?
Oh, my crypto experience has been to buy Bitcoin at 19,000 because it's going to the moon, sell it at 7 because it's going to 0, to buy it again at 40,000 because now it's definitely going to the moon, to sell it at 30 because it's going to 0. So my day trading abilities of Bitcoin are pretty bad. So, but I do recognize that there are.
But dude, if you were 26, you'd be able to do that better and you wouldn't need an advisor.
Well, yeah, of course. And
once
I would just
again,
put 90%
if you didn't hear
money.
If you didn't hear Monday's show, you have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
90% of my money in it. But
yes.
But I do think here's what I don't want to have happen. I don't want to wake up in 2030 and have my kid call me and be like, "Dad, did you ever own anything called like Shiba coin?" And then I go, "Well, yeah, I remember that was like 10 years ago. It's no big deal." And he goes, "Well, it's like $30 a coin now." And I had 58 million of them. You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
And you're a bajillionaire and you don't even know.
Of course, milk cost 77 quadrillion Shiba coin at that time. So really not.
So there's that.
So you don't really that's what you think. But so mine is 100% a lottery ticket. That's how I view it. Now
I think that's how a lot of people view it. So there's not, I don't know.
The technology behind it, the NFT technology interests me. In fact, I'm doing a webinar next week with some folk. I'm attending a webinar next week on kind of how this can apply in like the space that we're in terms of digital creation and like how we make this show and all that sort of stuff, to kind of learn a little bit more about that. That interests me.
Interests the hell out of me
in the context of protecting your thinking, right? Like,
yeah,
like this is how I came up with this. This is mine. And selling creative content and stuff. So the technology behind it is interesting. Do I want to sell a pixelated, picture of a monkey with weird sunglasses on for 6 million? Sure, I'll sell one. If I could create it and somebody wanted to buy it, I'll do it. But I don't understand that yet.
You may see more on that on Monday. Our friend Mark just sent me a great TikTok video that may make our TikTok minute. That may make our TikTok minute next Monday. Very funny and sad and about pixelated monkeys. Let's go back to the Fidelity.
That was my nickname in college.
Pixelated monkey. There's so There's so many stories here, OG. How about this edge of this story? Fidelity getting into the Canada now with the Bitcoin ETF. This is a lesson I think everybody needs to learn. And you and I have seen over our long careers doing this. Whenever there's a hotness, in all capitals, financial asset management companies figure out ways to capitalize on that hotness. And you start seeing products that are, you know, we talked about how ridiculous it usually is for the average person to own this ETF. I get what you're saying, but still, you can only play the volatility. You're not really doing the thing that it's supposed to do. But you're seeing an asset management rush. You're seeing government finally rush late to figure out where they stand. And now you're seeing asset management companies do the same thing. I think that's why people look at life insurance as investments, because life insurance, I feel like in the 80s was feeling like they were getting left behind when interest rates were really high. Like, how do we get some of this? Oh, you know what we do? We unbundle it. We call it universal life. And so we can get these really high interest rates and encourage people to buy life insurance. And then again, in the 90s, stock market starts roaring. Like, oh, nobody wants to buy these insurance policies because interest rates are going down. What do? Let's sell variable universal life. Now you can have mutual funds and your life insurance. So the insurance industry does this. Now we're seeing I think this is just the tip of the spear. If I have one prediction for 2022, we're going to see so many crypto fueled baloney ETF products, because crypto is a hot word. And NFT
do you remember,
is a hot button.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, there was a guy a company changed its name or ticker symbol or something to
totally pivoted.
I mean, it was like a company that made like shoelaces or something like that. And then they changed to like a marijuana something.
It is
like whatever they said. They just said, we just changed our ticker symbol to hemp or something like that, and like changed the name of the company to hemp laces, or everybody in the stock went through the roof. And
it's so funny that you say that, because holy crap, nobody remembers marijuana. I mean, nobody remembers. How long was that? 4 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
That all we had around us. And I was getting emails all the time. Dude, you guys don't understand.
How come you guys don't talk about it?
Why aren't you talking about this?
What's happening? Yeah.
Yes. This is the hotness. And I'm not saying they're the same thing.
For awesome marijuana stocks. Oh yeah. They don't exist.
You want one more on this headline before we leave? Case in point, by the way, about asset management companies.
Actually, Cobos.
Yeah, get this. This one comes to us also from Investment News. Jeff Benjamin wrote this. Leave it to Canada, where asset managers are permitted to offer investors direct exposure to cryptocurrencies to find a way to take the volatility sting out of crypto investing. So what if I could get my crypto, but it's not going to be as volatile now, OG? How great would that be?
Sounds terrible, because the reason you want crypto is because of volatility, but go ahead.
Right. Going back to that Kevin Rose interview. That's why you get in it early, is because of it. Toronto-based Purpose Investments, managing $14 billion worth of Canadian dollars across a family of mutual funds.
7 million of real dollars.
And exchange traded funds. Well, you know, they're fake because they have like the Queen on them instead of Ben.
You can buy $2 worth of stuff with a coin. Your money's not real.
A loony.
That's a toonie.
A toonie. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry, Canadians. I got that wrong.
A. B.
Has rolled out 2, ready? Covered call crypto ETFs. Bam.
Nice.
The madness has already begun. Yep. I predicted it 5 minutes ago and it already happened.
It's right there. It's like it's like that scene from the Big Short, where we're sitting at the casino and they're talking about how like synthetic CDOs work. And it's like, you can make a bet, and then I can make a bet based on your bet. And then they can make a bet based on my bet, based on your bet. And then they can make a bet based on their bet, based on their bet, based on my bet.
What can happen with this house of cards?
Too soon for a Kevin Spacey joke there.
Vlad Tversky, Chief Operating Officer and Head of Products at Purpose, says the space is growing, and with growth, we're seeing more opportunities to step in to provide different ways to gain access and exposure to cryptocurrencies. AKA, what is he saying, OG? He's saying
we're here to make money, and
it's a gold rush, and we're going to sell shovels.
That's right.
I think the lesson here is 2022, there's going to be a lot more product in this area. And I'm not sure that they're all going to have your best interest at heart, but somebody's going to make money, right? Somebody's going to make money, and you want to make sure that you're not on the losing end of that transaction.